Yes, hello friends and investors, welcome back to my channel, Cebu Homes, and this is Amon Ray, and hope you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you'll be updated for new videos. So for today's episode of Home Talk, we'll be checking out the breaking news headlines, and we're checking Channel News Asia for the hottest news now. 102 new COVID-19 cases in Singapore, including 4 seamen and 4 unlinked community cases. And we have here for business news, SoftBank Bank KE Holdings shares surge in New York debut. Still on business, Daimler agrees US settlement over diesel emissions. NSA FBI exposed Russian intelligence hacking tool, according to reports. Biden-Harris focus White House campaign on COVID-19 crisis. White House report lauds U.S. economic response to coronavirus crisis. In Spain, new coronavirus cases spiked to 2,935, bringing the total at 337,334. Another news, Trump holds up COVID-19 aid to block Democrats' bid for election funding. Another world news, in Israel and the United Arab Emirates reach historic deal to normalize relations. California startup aims to tackle battery degradation in electric cars. White House's Kudlow sees single-digit unemployment in August. Be recovery. Still an update of the U.S. upcoming elections. Kamala Harris to target Trump's COVID-19 response in U.S. campaign push. Then, what we know about former Malaysian Prime Minister Mahathir's new political party so far. Israeli hospital trials super quick saliva test for COVID-19. India reports record COVID-19 cases. Priest who shared stage with Modi tests positive. In Singapore, Food Panda collaborates with ST Engineering on drone food delivery trials. For business, COVID-19 pandemic delivers Grab's first crisis lessons. Ships carrying ammonium nitrate to Singapore port storage facilities inspected as part of regulations. Then in Singapore, man arrested after driving car towards police, injuring one officer. Still in Singapore, police investigating 2 men for allegedly lodging false report about high-rise littering in Punggol. In New Zealand, Prime Minister Ardern expects coronavirus cluster to grow further. And still in New Zealand, the country malls COVID-19 lockdown extension reports 14 new cases. For sports, Premier League traces online abuse of Brighton's Neil Maupay to Singapore. Police report filed. And China's Shenzhen says chicken imported from Brazil tests positive for coronavirus. That's an interesting story. Now let's check some details of this news. This is about this Israeli hospital trial super quick saliva test for COVID-19. This possibly is an advancement and another development about this pandemic. Ramat Gan Israel, a newly developed saliva test aims to determine in less than a second whether or not you are infected with the novel coronavirus, Israel's largest medical center said on Thursday, August 13. Patients rinse their mouth with a saline wash and spit into a vial. This is then examined by a small spectral device that, in simple terms, shines light on a specimen and analyzes the reaction to see if it is consistent with COVID-19. With machine learning, it gets more accurate over time. Ali Swartz of the Center for Geographic Medicine and Tropical Diseases at Sheba Medical Center, who is leading the trial, said it was easier to use than PCR swabs commonly used to detect COVID-19. So far, we have very promising results in this new method, which will be much more convenient and much cheaper, he said. The center said in an initial clinical trial involving hundreds of patients, the new artificial intelligence-based device identified evidence of the virus in the body at a 95% success rate. Amos Panat, an expert in molecular virology at Jerusalem's Hebrew University, said he would like to see more data and comparisons with existing tests before making a final judgment. The amount of virus present in saliva increases as patients get sicker, he said, and the big challenge is to detect in people who are borderline. It would be a game changer only if we see validation of this technology against the current technology, he said. Sheva, located just outside Tel Aviv, has partnered with the device's developer Israeli firm NewSight Imaging, to bring the system to market. The company said they are in the process of getting regulatory approval. Each test costs less than 25 cents and expects the device will eventually cost less than $200. Well, if this becomes successful, it will be a good help to all countries since this is not as costly as the PCR test, according to this report. So now let's check another news here. Let's find an interesting one about this news in Singapore with Food Panda collaborating with ST Engineering on drone food delivery trials. Wow, Singapore is really making use of its high technology to bring convenience services to its people. So in Singapore, can chickens fly? On Thursday, 5 packets of ayam penyet did when food delivery service Food Panda used a drone to deliver the popular fried chicken dish from the Marina South Pier to a ship located 3 kilometers offshore. It was a welcome treat for seafarers aboard the POSH Bawean, a PACC Offshore Services Holding, or POSH vessel designated to support crew changes for cargo ships calling in Singapore during the COVID-19 pandemic. This comes after Food Panda signed an agreement with Singapore Technologies, or ST Engineering, in March to use DroneNet, ST Engineering's drone network system, to test the delivery of live food items over distances of up to 3 kilometers. The collaboration, dubbed PandaFly, aims to eventually see drones picking up and delivering orders to and from designated collection points island-wide, with one of Food Panda's 12,000 delivery riders completing the last mile of the delivery. This is not the first time Food Panda has experimented with the use of drones for deliveries. The Berlin-based food delivery giant first did so in Singapore in 2015. Food delivery via drone is taking flight, with companies such as Uber and KFC experimenting with the use of devices over the past year. The fundamental desire in doing delivery by drone for us is to increase the choice for customers, said Food Panda Singapore Managing Director Luke Andriani. He noted that while delivering food from the city where many eateries are located to residents in the heartlands by motorcycle is possible, it would take too long, which would in turn affect the quality of the food. PandaFly would allow Food Panda to do island-wide deliveries without sacrificing that, he added. While the initial technological investment would be pricey, Mr. Andriani said customers will not have to contend with crazy high delivery fees. The idea would be to keep delivery fees stable so customers don't feel any difference. He said, adding that economies of scale meant that a greater use of drones would eventually translate to lower prices. He did not specify when drone food deliveries would be made more widely available. As with any big disruptive innovation, in the very early days, it's more like an investment for us, with the objective of also making it economically viable in the future, said Mr. Andriani. In February, ST Engineering announced it was collaborating with maritime group Wilhelm Ships Service in the development and testing of shore-to-ship drone deliveries in Singapore, which would allow the devices to be operated beyond the pilot's visual line of sight. The company's DRN-15L drone, which was used on Thursday, is able to lift up to 2 kilograms and fly at speeds of up to 15 meters per second with a delivery radius of up to 5 kilometers. Mr. Cheong Soo Soon, ST Engineering's UAV and manned aerial vehicle business vice president, said he expects to eventually see a network of pre-approved flight routes where drones can be safely used for deliveries. The use of drones would allow for deliveries to fly directly from one point to another in a straight line, bypassing traffic and other obstacles, allowing for speedier deliveries, he said. While it is unlikely that drones will do deliveries directly to homes, Mr. Cheong expects that there will soon be a network of collection points where these drones can take off and land from. I think it's a realistic expectation of what might come in the next few years, he said. Mr. Johnny Chong, General Manager for Bosch Centers of Excellence or Innovation, said the usage of drones is an area that the company is actively studying as part of its innovation roadmap. There is still much work to be done to fully enable short-to-ship delivery over longer haul distances, he said. Posh will continue to work with suitable partners so as to bring a taste of home to our seafarers on board in time to come. Well, that's really an advancement in the food delivery service, at least for Singapore. And it would be a good help. At least the person-to-person contact would be, diminished. So we can as well flatten the curve since we're still having this pandemic of the COVID-19. Now let's check about the spike of COVID-19 cases in Spain. Habla Español. Madrid. Spain reported a sharp rise in new coronavirus infection Thursday, August 13, as 2,935 cases were diagnosed in the past 24 hours, after 1,690 were reported the previous day. According to Health Ministry data, that brought a cumulative total to 337,334 cases. The ministry also said 70 people had died over the past 7 days, with a cumulative death toll reaching 28,605. Oh, that's too sad for Spain. I think Spain is also one of the countries in Europe which has a number of coronavirus cases. Let's take a look at this news, because this is kind of interesting. China's Shenzhen says chicken imported from Brazil tests positive for coronavirus. Beijing. A sample of frozen chicken wings imported into the southern Chinese city of Shenzhen from Brazil has tested positive for coronavirus, the city government said on Thursday, August 13, raising fears that contaminated food shipments could cause new outbreaks. Local disease control centers tested a surface sample taken from chicken wings as part of routine screenings carried out on meat and seafood imports since June, when a new outbreak in Beijing was linked to the city's Sinfati Wholesale Food Center. The Shenzhen government identified a Brazilian meat plant owned by Aurora, the country's third largest processor of chicken and pork, as the source of the chicken wings. The local government identified the plant by its registration number in a posting on its website. When checked against Brazilian records, the number was linked to the Aurora facility in Brazil's southern state of Santa Catarina. Aurora, an enlisted company, did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Brazil's agriculture ministry said it was consulting with its technical team on the matter without elaborating. The discovery came a day after traces of the coronavirus that causes COVID-19 were found on the packaging of frozen shrimp from Ecuador. China has been stepping up screenings at ports amid concerns over food imports. Shenzhen's health authorities traced and tested everyone who might have come into contact with potentially contaminated food products, and all results were negative, the city's notice said. The Brazilian embassy in Beijing did not immediately respond to a request for comment. It is hard to say at which stage the frozen chicken got infected, said a China-based official at a Brazilian meat exporter. The Shenzhen Epidemic Prevention and Control Headquarters said the public needed to take precautions to reduce infection risks from imported meat and seafood. In addition to screening all meat and seafood containers coming into major ports in recent months, China has suspended some meat imports from various origins, including Brazil, since mid-June. The first cluster of COVID-19 cases was linked to the Huanan seafood market in the city of Wuhan. Initial studies suggested the virus originated in animal products on sale at a market. Li Fengqin, who heads a microbiology lab at the China National Center for Food Safety Risk Assessment, told reporters in June the possibility of contaminated frozen food causing new infections could not be ruled out. Viruses can survive up to 2 years at temperatures of minus 20 degrees Celsius, but scientists say there is no strong evidence so far that coronavirus that causes COVID-19 can spread via frozen food. That's very alarming if it's really, proven that the contamination can be carried through food imports. So those are some of the hottest issues and the breaking headlines at this hour from Channel News Asia. So thank you so much for checking this video, and I hope you subscribe and please hit the notification bell so you'll be updated of the new videos we upload on our channel. Thank you and stay safe, my friends and investors.